All right, so let's get this out of the way because I know you want to know. I know you're itching to know what went down with this whole barbershop BS. You want the bee's knees,
yes,
right?
I have to hear this. It should never have gotten this far. And a plethora of impetuous foolishness.
Shug, every time he is here, something goes too far. He makes volcanoes out of molehills. He's always too proud, and he's always such a stud. He doesn't know how to do right and shut his mouth. He can throw gas on snow and make damn fire.
Did he leave town already?
Yes, in true, subtle, inept fashion, but yes. He had to have his one last visit to the local whorehouse, but yes, he's gone, officially. He's gone.
We should get him an electric collar. Make him wear it every time he visits.
Like that would work. He'd slip it off with butter and put it on some poor young kid in the bloody sewers who he bribed with Chico sticks and biscuits or some shit like that.
Chico sticks and biscuits? My goodness, that sounds so disgusting.
Yeah, get that taste out of your mouth. Get that taste out. So, if you're late on the uptake, you're probably wondering what the hell we're yammering on about. If you didn't listen the other night, Shadow left town about an hour ago. And as you know, when he's here, he can't behave himself, and he can't keep his piss swizzle in his pants. Every time he visits, I've seen 9-year-olds who act better. I'm just waiting for him to start blowing his nose with his hands and wiping it on me.
In true Kitty Picasso fashion.
More like Finkel Nardo, but nonetheless. Shadow went down to the 4th Ward when he was here to do who knows what, something that's either gonna cost me money or my reputation as a personality among the deceased because he has zero self-awareness and absolutely no consideration to the point you gotta beat him with a claw hammer to remind him.
Don't make promises you can't keep. He might like that.
I'm sure he would. He likes for hard things to smack up against him repeatedly, but nonetheless. For some reason, he decided that he would go get a shave while he was down on official shadow business, whatever the hell that might be, in the 4th Ward. For those of you listening life-side, the 4th Ward it's... What am I looking here for? What am I looking for here, Shuggy? It's what?
Timeless, frozen, permanent, unchanging.
It's very 1901 New York, a few years above the Hangman District here. The buggies, the derby hats, the elegant church ladies, the boozy harlots, it's all there. You will find them there. Some with missing limbs due to violent death, but you get the picture, I'm sure. Now, all the businesses in that area pay protection to Paul Kelly, who even in death, he leads smaller factions of his 5 Points gang down there. They swarm the whole strip. It's theirs, and they will make sure you know it's theirs. I've seen them kill many demons and entities who cause havoc. You can't take a piss down there without a 5-pointer Peter gazing you, pretty much.
Especially down Murderer's Alleyway. Why you'd be taking a piss there is beyond me, but you can't underestimate stupid.
Hence our dear friend. So Shadow, with his aggravated erectile dysfunction, goes to get a shave at a local barbershop, and he refused to pay for it, because in his true charming fashion, he's so cheap he can't afford to pay attention, and because he's naturally a goddamn menace, this is what he does best.
The whole damn journey was fruitless. He can't grow facial hair for one thing. I can't fathom the way his mind works. It's like going to donate sperm and you've had a vasectomy.
Sweetie, you are not alone. You are not alone, trust me. So he gets into a fight with these barbers because he didn't want to pay 40 notes for a pointless shave that mentally does something for his ego, I'm guessing. He flees, he gets shot at, and I get a letter from Mr. Groves, the owner, stating that he's informed Mr. Kelly of the incident. So, naturally, I chew him out on the air. I pull his head out of his ass and put it back on his shoulders because he's the disproportioned totem pole of jackass. And I tell him, we are going down there to pay this shit, or you'll have diarrhea for a month after how hard I kick in your balls. You will permanently wear my toe print for the rest of your life. I'm not kidding. We go down to the 4th Ward, Shug. We took the Model T, not Lucy.
I was just gonna ask what car you took.
Yes, the Model T. It's not exactly a party for Franklin Roosevelt we're going to. Now, of course, I don't trust the 4th Ward for shit. Are you crazy? I see the alleys. They're filled with cheap punks and Shanghaiers and loan sharks. You see them. You will see them. And not all of them are Kelly's men. Not everyone down there is. So, I have the Thompson and the pistol in the backseat, as you should always have when you go over there. And I don't like getting into gun battles, but if you challenge my estrogen, I will oblige you.
Rightfully so.
Now, granted, I don't have much to worry about, considering I have Shadow with me. And as much as I knock him, he's a tough son of a bitch. He's a very difficult creature to defeat, especially when the wings come out. It's like trying to play whack-a-mole with a goddamn fly. I mean, it's not suicide like trying to fight Baco or Kalulu. The guy's not imperishable by any means, but he is a tough bastard.
Yes, now only if his brains equaled his physical prowess. That would be great.
Yeah, tell me about it. Now, if you remember, Shug, Mr. Groves, he wrote down an address on the letter he sent for us to meet. And of course, you can't help but think they're gonna throw pillow sacks over our heads the minute we arrive, blackjack us, and then sodomize us with the same damn razor he used on Shadow. That's not too far-fetched, right? We pull up to the address. It's the Little Naples Cafe. And the first thing I see is 4 of Kelly's gunmen standing out front. The black derby hats, the long black coats, the nice bow ties, the works. Each of them dripping blood from bullet holes when they were alive, but yes.
Did you see any Pinkerton agents in the area? I heard there's some kind of search going on.
Oh no Pinkertons, luckily. That's the last thing I need with a partially buzzed Shadow. Which he drank 2 shots of my frickin' wolf blood before we left. Imagine that.
Oh, great.
So I shut the car off, and I look at Shadow. He looks back at me, those big yellow and black eyes, and you can tell when he's gonna say something stupid, and you've gotta nip him in the bud for his own good.
Oh, yes. All too common.
So I say, when we get inside here, don't act like a jackass. Just pay the money so we can go. Don't run your dick liquor. Don't turn into a wise ass. Don't do any of this. Let's do this and go. And we go back and forth for a minute, and I honk the horn. I honk a few times to let Kelly's men know we're here. They see us. We get out, and we walk into the cafe, because we're to be expected. And it's very lively there tonight, Shug. I had 7 listeners come up and wanting hugs and kisses. I love running into listeners of the show, so I felt good about that. And one of them had on one of the most gorgeous corsets and shawls I've ever seen in my life, Shug. I was so close to ditching my own advice I gave Shadow in the car for this shawl, but anyhow.
How did the others take to you and Shadow?
Oh, we got some looks in that place, let me tell you. You already know we did. Kelly's gunmen act like they never saw a negress. Well, a negress with a monster in a suit with her, but still, we're not exotic visitors from fucking starving planet of Zotar.
Well, for the 4th Ward, you two are as exotic as it gets walking into a place.
I bet. Now, in the back of Little Naples, there's some kind of card game going on, and I see Paul Kelly at this table. He's playing with 6 other guys, and he's got 3 of his men standing around him. Next thing I know, a guy walks up to me with a smile, and he's missing an eyeball. He smiles at me and goes, "My darling, thank you for coming." It's Mr. Groves.
Was he by himself?
Yeah, he was. No shaving sodomizers, as you would expect. So he hugs me and tells me how much he enjoys the show and how he wishes we could have met under better circumstances. Really a nice potato, Shug. Very nice, well-mannered, well-spoken, a charmer. Shadow, however, doesn't like the guy, and I hear Shadow in my ear, "Why would you give this asshole, why would you hug this asshole? You're gonna get typhus, and then he'll charge you 50 notes for it." So I quickly shut him up with a hidden fist to the groin, which his dick could break my hand if I hit hard enough, so I found out. It's like punching a bumpy, leaning tower of Pisa, so I'm never gonna do that again.
Good luck leaving that toe print, huh?
Yeah, that's not gonna happen. But I already got him to where I need him, so no need to threaten him with that anymore. Mr. Groves leads Shadow and I to Mr. Kelly's Stas game. And let me tell you, meeting the first modern underworld boss of the 19th century, Shug, it definitely had a very abounding clusterfuck of emotions for me in that moment.
Oh, I can imagine.
But let me tell you, this man does not feel like a gangster at all. He was very well-mannered, smart, wholesome. He could speak 4 languages very fluently. He treated us like honored guests, so, of course, my defenses gradually came down a bit after that. So Shadow and I sit across from him. Mr. Grove sits next to Mr. Kelly, and he orders us drinks, and we begin to talk. Mr. Groves tells his side. Shadow argues back, but there's nothing you can say about knocking out 5 of the guy's people and calling his daughter a bullet-headed whore who could scare rust off a tire, jackass. Just shut up and pay what you owe.
Exactly, and I'm sure he pulled out some reason why he's vindicated.
He can't vindicate himself from a damn bowl of grits, Shook. Come on. Now, here's where I start getting nervous. Over against the wall is one of Kelly's gunmen. Really tall and bulky guy. And he hasn't taken his eyes off me since I sat down at this damn table. Every few minutes, I'm kinda looking over to see if he's still devil staring me.
He doesn't like blacks, perhaps?
Oh, I'm sure that's why. I mean, no one devil stares you if they want to get in your dress, you know? You drool and bark like a dog when commanded, but not this one. And it was getting to a point where it was getting very uncomfortable, so I asked Mr. Kelly, who is this man and why does he stare so hard? And Mr. Kelly turns around in his chair and he tells the guy to go out back and keep an eye on things, thank God. I don't know what the hell he's keeping an eye on, but honestly, I don't give a goddamn as long as he stops looking at me like black casserole. So for the fight that took place, Mr. Kelly wants 40 notes paid to Mr. Groves for the useless ego shave, and an additional 10 notes for the damage Shadow inflicted. So we pay the 50 notes, we clear Shadow, we toast, and all is forgiven. Easy peasy. This could have been done at the fucking barbershop, but thank you, Shadow. I may now have a possibly dangerous new creeper.
Did you end up paying the additional, or did he?
Oh, he did. Screw that. I told him he's gonna pay that, not me. I pay for things in this city. You need to do the same. So his ass paid 50 notes. There are consequences for your recklessness. He needs to learn that.
He needs to learn you just can't go around doing what you want all the time. But yet again, I've known him for many years, and it's ultimately futile. It's going to happen regardless of where he is.
Sweetie, you know it. I know it. We all know it. Now, for the worst part of the story, Shug.
Oh no, there's a worse part?
Of course, it's me. So we leave Little Naples, and Shadow wants me to drop him off at some brothel near the Hangman District. And I notice something. Behind me is another Model T, and I think nothing of it. I'm not the only one on the roads down here, of course. I look in my side mirror, and the guy driving is that big, bulky son of a bitch who was staring at me.
Oh no, you're kidding.
I am not. I wish I was, though. And he, without a doubt, was following us. He's not caring to make it less obvious or suspicious either. He might be getting off on it. That's what I'm thinking. So I tell Shadow, that fucking guy from Little Naples is following us. And he goes, "Girl, ain't nobody following you." Jackass, he's following us. And he says, well, he didn't just lose 50 notes, so he ain't got no reason to be following anybody. God, what a dick. So I'm watching the guy, Shug, because he still is double staring me from his car, looking right into my mirror. He pulls a revolver out of his coat, and he begins shooting at us up the street.
Oh my God, really?
Really? I'm not... He's a goddamn nut. So I slam on the gas pedal. The Model T only goes up to 45 miles at top speed. But I slam it, and he's chasing us, and he's blasting. Clip after clip after clip. It's weird. And he's trying to keep his car straight, but blasting at us at the same time. I don't have time to reach in the back and grab my Tommy gun, because we'll slam it to somebody's shop, and then I'll be the root of the next goddamn sit-down, and I can't have that. You lead by example. So I yell at Shadow, you want to do something, or sit there like a shitting duck? You see he's shooting at us, you want to get out and fry the son of a bitch? Dick Liver says to me, pay me 50 notes and I will.
What?
So I talk calmly, Shug, and it gradually turns into bottled up rage, and I say, Shadow, now's not the time to have a sore asshole. If you don't get out of this car and knock that fucker's head off, I will grab this pistol and shoot you in the face at close range before I shoot this bastard, and both your brains will be splattered farther than a goddamn grenade blowing up in a Jell-O factory, you asshole. So he grunts, he makes a joke about me being a man, and agrees to kill the sumbitch. And all the while, he's blasting at us. We've gone across 5 intersections in the 4th Ward by now, and I'm having trouble shaking him. And the bastard must have had unlimited ammo or something, because he hasn't stopped to fucking reload one time yet, Shug. So we tricked the bastard into believing he shot me, and he spun me off the road. He stops his car, he gets out with his revolver, and Shadow flies out. He tries to shoot Shadow down, but he can't, and Shadow swoops down, and he twists the sumbitch's head around so bad that it comes right off.
My goodness.
Clean off. Clean the hell off. And his body hits the ground, and his head is there just cursing at Shadow. It was hilarious. This was a hilarious sight, Shug. Oh my God. And you know what happens?
What?
Shadow goes, that little stunt you pulled just cost you 100 notes, boy. Shadow goes through the guy's coat pocket. All the while, his head is cursing him out.
Oh my God.
Shug, this was a sight to behold, I swear. Shadow takes all of the guy's notes, which is about 215 notes. So this bastard just doubled what he lost, and now the hard-earned lesson is lost because he just achieved greater result through malice. Great. I wanted him to kill the son of a bitch, but not be rewarded for it.
I can't believe this. I just can't.
So I hear the police sirens in the distance, and we gotta fucking go now, because some of the city cops work with the necro cops, and the last thing you need is Madam at this scene, even if it was in self-defense from a crazy-ass mustache Pete. So I yell for Shadow to get his ass back in the car. Shadow gets annoyed by the shouting head that's on the ground, and he stumps on it until it's nothing more than human jelly. Shug. No kind of face left. It looked like someone dropped their ice cream on the street, I'm not kidding. Shadow's a joker and all, but he can be very, very vicious if you keep pissing him off like this prick. So we speed out of the 4th Ward as fast as we can, and we don't stop until we cross Hayton's Bridge over into the Hangman District. Shadow and I go back and forth. We go back and forth about it because we now realize that's something else we're going to have to answer to. Killing a Kelly gunman. Unless, you know, he knew the guy was a walking time bomb and we did him a favor, of course.
Sounds like it. There's no mental control there. It's a reflection of your leadership as a crime boss, the men under you.
So I drop Shadow off near the Hangman District and I come back to the manor. I change, I called you, and here we are. We paid the damn notes and hopefully we won't hear anything else. That is, until the next time he's in town, so enjoy the peace while you can.
This didn't need to happen. It's amazing this story could spawn from something so amazingly minuscule. You pay, you leave, have a nice day. You shouldn't be going to sit-downs and being shot at.
Tell him that, please. You know, Shug, better yet, make a potion for him. Something that kills that reckless, impetuous trait in that dehydrated noggin of his. You'd be doing us all a favor.
Noted. I'll get to work on that. Though I like the shock collar idea a lot better.
Yeah, me too. We should put it on his nuts instead of his neck.